Well, now to the tragic death of a young American adventurer, wingsuit flyer Johnny Strange.
Imagine the wind roaring past as you run full speed off the edge of a sheer cliff face, 2,000 feet up in the Swiss Alps. For a split second, there's only the dizzying view of the valley floor far, far below. Then, with a jolt, the wingsuit inflates and you're flying. Really flying. The ground races past in a blur as you slice through the air at over 100 miles per hour. Your heart pounds with exhilaration. This is ultimate freedom, pure joy. Tilting your arms, you bank through a sharp curve, barely skimming past an outcropping of rock. Mountains tower around you and the trees wave below you. You weave effortlessly between them, threading impossibly narrow gaps. This is your element. All your senses are on fire, overwhelmed by the raw thrill of human flight. In these precious moments, you are untouchable, unbound, infinite. You are a bird. You are the wind itself, weightless, limitless, alive. This is your dream. This is what you were born to do. Join us as we uncover the mysterious incident and details of Johnny Strange's tragedy, answering the questions that surround his untimely demise. Johnny Strange came roaring into this world with adventure in his blood. His father, Brian, and mother, Dianette, were both avid climbers and trekkers who explored the farthest corners of the world. They competed in grueling adventure races, testing their limits, hiking, climbing, rappelling, and kayaking through a remote wilderness. They both conquered Everest together. Johnny's thirst for adventure and desire to push boundaries was deeply ingrained from his parents, who passed on their restless spirit and inclination towards risk-taking. From the time he was just a toddler, he dreamed of soaring through the sky and touching the clouds. By age 5, he was jumping off furniture and leaping from the tops of playground equipment. His little arms spread wide like the wings of a bird. He got his first skateboard for his 7th birthday and would tear down the streets of Malibu at breakneck speeds, carving back and forth across the pavement as if he was riding the wind. His parents nicknamed him Icarus, both for his longing to fly and his reckless disregard for his own safety.
He skateboarded down the 101 freeway in traffic, and then it just hit me that this kid couldn't get enough speed.
When Johnny was 12 years old, he climbed his first major mountain peak, the 16,050-foot Mount Vinson Massif in Antarctica. It was the start of an incredible journey that would take Johnny to the highest summits on all 7 continents by the time he was only 17 years old. At the time, he was the youngest person in history to climb the 7 summits.
America's top teen, at least if it's measured by the heights he's reached. He's climbed to the top of 7 of the world's tallest summits.
17-year-old Johnny Strange.
He pursued extreme sports with the same fiery passion, surfing 30-foot waves in Hawaii, base jumping into the Grand Canyon, backflipping snowmobiles near his home in Lake Tahoe. For Johnny, the greater the risk, the greater the thrill. He was addicted to adrenaline, to pushing the limits of what people thought was humanly possible.
I'm currently the youngest person to do the Adventurous Grand Slam. You climb the tallest mountain on every continent, plus reach the North and South Pole. I skydived into the North Pole freshman year.
Though known for his daredevil stunts and feats, Johnny Strange also had a strong philanthropic spirit and used his adventures to raise awareness for causes close to his heart. While a student at USC, he majored in international relations and became a fierce advocate against genocide around the world. He would pose with signs reading "Stop Genocide" at the summits of the peaks he climbed, using his global adventures as a platform for this important message. Strange was also deeply committed to raising funds and awareness around Parkinson's disease research, a cause with personal meaning because of his family's experiences. On his successful summit of Mount Everest, Strange dramatically unfurled a homemade flag declaring "Cure Parkinson's" to inform the world of his purpose. He constantly implored his legions of fans and followers to donate whatever they could to help fund Parkinson's research.
I really wanted to climb Mount Everest when I was 12, and here I am.
But there was actually a method to Johnny's mountain madness, a chance to turn an adventure into activism. When you reached the top of Mount Everest, you actually posted 2 signs. What did they say?
One said stop genocide, and then the other said cure Parkinson.
Johnny never lost his passion for these philanthropic causes, even as he became focused on greater and more extreme sports.
Johnny went from jumping out of airplanes and hot air balloons to jumping off of bridges. He just always seemed to be upping the ante a little bit.
He'd say base jump is exciting, but there's something even more exciting than base jumping called wingsuit flying, and I gotta learn how to do that.
After college, Johnny pursued his greatest passion, wingsuit base jumping. The first time he jumped from a cliff in the Swiss Alps wearing the specially designed winged jumpsuit, he knew this is what he was born to do. As he stepped off the edge and began hurtling towards the valley floor at over 100 miles per hour, the fabric wings caught the air, and he felt the powerful sensation of true flight. Johnny was no longer just a boy who dreamed of flying, but a young man who had turned his dream into a reality, soaring through the air, the mountains streaking past in a blur. Johnny felt truly free. Over the next few years, Johnny completed over 500 wingsuit base jumps around the world. With a GoPro camera mounted to his helmet, he captured dizzying point-of-view footage as he rocketed past sheer cliff faces, threading needle-like gaps in the rock. To watch his videos is to feel like you too are flying. But wingsuit base jumping is perhaps the most dangerous extreme sport in the world. Since the first jumps in the late 90s, nearly 300 of these extreme sports pilots have died. The suits give you wings, but not the ability to rise. You are always racing towards the ground far below. Piloting the suit takes immense skill and concentration. One wrong move at over 100 miles per hour, and you'll likely meet an untimely death. Johnny was keenly aware of the risk with every jump. His family and friends often cautioned him, telling him that his luck would eventually run out. But Johnny was committed to living life to its absolute fullest, chasing his passion despite the danger. "The day I let fear deter me from following my dreams, I have already died," he said.
He started to talk about how dangerous it was and would try to show me the videos, and I never would watch them. I couldn't.
On September 30th, 2015, Johnny Strange got ready to make a wingsuit jump in the Swiss Alps. The forecast called for high winds that day, far from ideal conditions. Some of his fellow jumpers decided to cancel their planned flights, wary of the dangerous air currents swirling through the high mountain valleys. But Johnny was undeterred. Though only 23 years old, he had made over 500 successful jumps. He felt confident the winds would not be a problem for a jumper of his skill and experience. In an interview, he once said, "There's nothing quite like being able to fly. It's like having superpowers. It's about living to the fullest extent. I love it. I can't stop."
People were begging him to stop.
And I was like, "Johnny, do not go on this trip."
I knew that he shouldn't jump again.
Johnny was preparing to jump from a cliff near Mount Gitchen, located in central Switzerland's canton of Schwyz. Situated in the Swiss Alps, Mount Gitchen has an elevation of 6,418 feet above sea level. The exposed limestone cliff Johnny stood on provides a launching point over 2,000 feet above the steeply rising valley below. However, dangerous updrafts and wind shear are common occurrences due to the mountain's location. On the day of the crash, wind speeds likely exceeded 65 miles per hour based on weather reports. Standing at the cliff's edge, looking out over the dramatic snow-capped peaks all around, Johnny felt alive with anticipation for the adrenaline-fueled flight ahead. He spread his arms, feeling the fabric wings catch the wind. Then, he leaned forward into the open air and began to plummet towards the valley thousands of feet below. The winds were worse than he expected. Violent updrafts and downdrafts buffeted his body, making it nearly impossible to steer his path. The wingsuit caught awkwardly in the gusts, unable to fully inflate as Johnny streaked across the mountainside. Though an experienced jumper, the unpredictable winds and cliffside topography proved fatal. Unable to achieve stable flight, Johnny slammed into the unforgiving rock face of Mount Gitchen approximately 10 seconds into his jump. He crashed into the unforgiving rock and snow, killed instantly from extreme trauma upon impact. Johnny Strange was only 23 years old. News of Johnny's death sent shockwaves through the extreme sports community and beyond. Though many had feared this day might come due to the extreme risks Johnny took, it was still heartbreaking for all those whose lives he had impacted. A paddle-out memorial was held near Johnny's home at Zuma Beach, with hundreds of friends, family, and fellow adventurers gathering to share stories and say goodbye to the young man who lived more boldly in 23 years than most do in a lifetime. The 80-minute documentary film, Johnny Strange, Born to Fly, chronicles his extraordinary life and tragic death. Local Malibu filmmakers originally planned to make a short film about Strange for the Discovery Channel's Elevation Weekend programming. They filmed an initial interview with Strange in Malibu just before he left on his fateful trip to the Swiss Alps. After Strange's tragic death, they decided to move forward with a full-length documentary about Strange's remarkable life. They interviewed his family, friends, and fellow adventurers to piece together his story. It explores what drove his relentless pursuit of extreme thrills and the lessons that can be learned from his uncompromising passion for living life to the fullest.
My name is Johnny Strange, and I'm a wingsuit base jumper.